Hey people,
Oh,
this is Chelsea. You've seen Chelsea on my live streams. This is the first video me and Chelsea have recording together, and we're doing a Brainiac. We're doing a Brainiac review. I'm laughing because a lot of people aren't gonna remember or know what Brainiac is, because it was on back when we were like really young. I was like 7, I think, when it's 2003. So I was 7. But yeah, like a lot of people today aren't gonna know what Brainiac is, but essentially it was a science program where they would blow things up and do like experiments with microwaves and stuff like that. And um I'm trying to think of other things they've done. They've done stuff like where they brought mannequins from like a high crane and attached parachutes to them. But yeah, what me and Chelsea are gonna do is say what our favourite experiments were. That's if Chelsea can even remember half of what they've done, because there was a lot of them, wasn't there? It ran for it ran for 6 years, like.
yeah, because they did it from November 2003 to like I think the 30th of March.
Yeah, how the bloody hell do you remember that?
I don't know. I don't know why I remember the date. It's weird.
Like,
They did like 6 series, and then it finished.
yeah,
It's sad when it finished, to be fair, because it was just funny.
I
It's
know.
nice to see them throw dolls around and just test what they do with them. I'm just like,
I know.
I remember they tried to shoot one in the head, and it just went flying, and I'm just like, that's how it's just
Yeah,
like, ah.
I remember for the last 2 seasons, it wasn't Richard Hammond. It wasn't Richard Hammond presenting. It was Vic Reeves.
Yeah, I know that Rick Hammond's left in like I think the 4th season. I think he
Yeah,
left.
it was. Yeah. You see, I thought he left, right, because he had that terrible car crash, didn't he, back in 2006.
I thought was like he left because of that, because obviously.
I know, that's what I thought, because he was in a coma for 2 weeks, wasn't he? But I did do a bit of research, and from what I found, he left because he signed something with the BBC or something, or he was too busy with Top Gear, and
Probably.
you know. But yeah, I remember one Wednesday night I was allowed to stay up and watch it, because 8 o'clock back then it would have been my bedtime, because I'm talking now back in like 2004, when they done series 2.
Like during, like if I watched it during the week, because my bedtime was like 7, like 7:30. If we had gone out somewhere like that night, my mother and my dad would push it back, but at most times it was 7, so I was never allowed to watch it during the week. I had to like wait until it was either on Capita and watch it, or they would sort of let me as a treat if I could at school watch it.
Yeah, I only stayed up once to watch it, I think, or it might have even been twice. Yeah, it was twice, because I also done it again back in 2005 when they had the third series. I watched the final episode of series 3. But anyway, back to the one I watched in 2004. I taped it so I could watch it whenever I wanted, and they were seeing if you could do certain things whilst being electrocuted. And in this particular episode I was watching, the one I taped, they were seeing if you could drink a beer out of a soft plastic cup. And each time the Brainiac was getting electrocuted, he was squeezing the cup, and the beer, it went like all in his face. Like it probably went like all over him. It was so funny. Like, it was crazy. Like some of the things that they were like allowed to do back then, but then it was 2004, so
I felt like at that point it wasn't like a big deal. Like if they put it on now, I feel like they'd have to be like sort of boring about experiments they did. People would be like, "Oh, that's not the Brainiac
Yeah, because they, like, I think one of the episodes of series 3, they were doing a test to see which was the best DIY bungee cord. And for the first one, they used tights, but apparently they attached a real person to the end of it, which I thought they'd made that up. Like, I thought they got him to, like, stand on top of the crane just for the top shot, and then they kind of swapped it for, like, a mannequin type thing. Unless they did do that, and then when it came to the bit where the thing was, like, on the ground, the Brainiac, they could have just swapped it round, and, like, do you get me? They
Yeah.
could have done all sorts of stuff, because I mean, if anyone actually got, like, seriously hurt or killed, then they wouldn't be allowed to make the show no more, would they?
No.
Do you get me?
Are exploding like caravans by using different like substances. What? Very nasty.
Yeah, can you remember, right, the first caravan that they ever exploded on Brainiac? Can you remember what the experiment was?
No, but it was like I always liked them blowing things up. I don't know why I was a kid that was just like, ooh, been it.
It was it was basically they were seeing if a mobile phone could blow up a caravan with petrol, because apparently there was a story that somebody was using their mobile phone at a petrol station, and apparently it made like a big explosion. So they were putting that theory to the test. They were using a caravan, obviously, instead of a car.
See the one where they were trying to like cook a like hard like try to cook an egg like 100 times.
Yeah, I remember
It's
that.
just like when I watched that as a kid, I was like, "There's no way that these 100 phones are going to cook this tiny freaking egg."
Oh, I know. It was a
Getting 100 phones to ring all the 100 phones that are on this egg. I'm just like you've got to be really precise to ring them all at the same time.
I know. And the guy that wrote in and asked the question, like, he had to go and press all the buttons on the on the phone.
Just to cook this one egg.
I know it would have been easier, like, if there was him plus 100 Brainiacs helping him, and then they could have pressed all the buttons at exactly the same time.
It's just like there's no way that he's going to press all these 100 phones. It's just one person. And he's so convinced that this is going to work. He's like, yeah, this is fine. Like, maybe 20, like 100. That's quite a lot.
I know. Like, that was the first episode of series 2. That was. I was going to say series 4 then, but it wasn't. It was series 2. Like, did you see the one where they did the brown noise experiment? Like, I tried that every single time I would watch that episode of Brainiac. I would put the volume on my TV up all the way, and nothing would happen to me at all. Like, I wouldn't find myself running to the toilet or anything.
I did that, and I was like, it just did nothing for me. And I was just like, is this like? I was like, am I just broken? Is it supposed to work?
I know that's the bit I couldn't figure out. Is like what was going on, because I mean it clearly worked for the Brainiac in the toilet, didn't it? Because Richard Hammond, he poked in and he was like, I think we might need to get some buckets. So he must have clearly had a bit of a big accident if it was that bad. You know?
Did you
What
see the
else?
one they're trying to do like walking on custard? Like,
Oh, yeah, and John Tickle. Did you know that was filmed at Richard Hammond's house?
no. Weird.
That was filmed in Richard Hammond's back garden.
I'm surprised they let him in his back garden to do that. Like, he was cleaning that up afterwards. Like, I wouldn't.
I don't know. John Tickle said, "Did you ever watch the Brainiac Test You Baby? It was like a live thing."
Yeah.
John Tickle said on that, because he was one of the presenters alongside who was it? It was Dominic Wood. Yeah, Dominic Wood, and he was saying that it was freezing cold when he was walking on the custard, and it took ages and ages for them to get rid of it.
Dispose of that afterwards. It's not like
But
you
the
just
one thing I couldn't work out is I watched a video the other day. It was about Richard Hammond and his daughter, because apparently they do like a podcast thing.
Yeah.
It was I watched it on YouTube. It was on the Lorraine YouTube channel thing. But anyway, he said that um, that or his daughter said rather that she didn't know what Richard Hammond actually done for his job. So she didn't know that he once presented Brainiac and Top Gear and all that, which I found that kind of difficult to believe, because like he done other things like Should I Worry About, and some of those episodes that his kids were in them. So there was obviously cameras around. So like, how can he say over 20 years later that his kids didn't know when they clearly did?
Yeah, it'd be very hard to not know if you've got like people in your house, like a camera shoved in your face. You can't go, I didn't
I know. Unless it's because his daughters were really young at the time, maybe. And a lot of what he done was dangerous, wasn't it?
remember. But if you're at like 3 or 4, I think you'd remember if you had shoved in your face.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to Brainiac, because we kind of got a bit sidetracked there. Um, like, what else did they do as well? They had to try and crack the world's toughest safe, wasn't they, to get 200 quid out of it.
Honestly, it was like, will they actually break into that? It just
Yeah, but in the end, they got the British Army to do it, didn't they? Because I think the idea bit behind it all now, like now I'm older and I'm thinking more open-minded about it. I think the whole idea behind it is because each episode that they had a different way of trying to crack the safe open, and I think the idea was to kind of make it sort of like weaker and weaker in each episode.
yeah.
Otherwise, they could have just called the army straight away, and it would have been over and done with.
But yeah, it would have just been like a quick, like, oh, here you go. This is how you break. Doesn't seem that
Yeah,
interesting. I feel like if you drag it out enough, then people go,
yeah. And in series 2, they tried to destroy a black box flight recorder, wasn't they?
yeah.
Did they do anything for series 3? I can't remember. I can't remember. I know they had the
I know they
Brainiac.
did if being electrocuted affects like someone's ability to like obviously go to work or do anything, which I was like, obviously I feel like it would.
Yeah. I remember that. This one, I think it was in the first episode of series 3. They electrocuted this woman who makes her money from standing dead still, which I thought I was like, really, you're gonna stand around like a statue for money,
I know, it's just like
you know?
not really gonna give you anything or just walk past you. What?
Yeah, exactly. And she obviously she wasn't very happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and there was one as well where they was electrocuting this teacher, and it was distracting the whole fucking class. That one was funny because she was telling them all off,
Yeah.
and she messed up the register, which I suppose the headmaster wasn't too impressed.
Probably.
Probably not, but then they probably, they probably mentioned to it like weeks before it even is due to be filmed. Do you get me? They wouldn't have just turned up at their school and then been like, right, you're going to get electrocuted whilst you do your job, whether if you like it or not, and we're going to film it and stick it on Brainiac. Do you get me? Like they'd have to arrange it beforehand, wouldn't they? Trying to think of what else there was. Um, they even did experiments, right, where they were showing you like how to like go to the toilet in public, like when they were. I think it was in series 4. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they were showing you like the best way to pee in the best way to take a poop when you're in a public toilet without getting embarrassed, and
One where it was like they were trying to like see if like somebody like had breast implants, like if it floated backwards, it didn't happen. I was just like,
yeah.
and I don't think she can float that well either.
Hang on, you on about the one where John Tickle was seeing if silicon could float? And is that the one you're on about?
Yeah, that one. I was just like, it just seemed weird because it was like, as a kid, I didn't think that much into it, but looking back at it, I'm just like, you think more silicone's gonna like sort of sink?
Yeah. Yeah, that one was a bit strange, wasn't it? That one.
It's just like the like starting part of it when he's like in the pool. I'm like, yeah, like at the time you don't think about it, but when you look back at it, you're like, yeah, that don't look creepy at all. It's just like,
But the bit I didn't get right is like, why was he fully dressed? Like, he even had his shoes on and it. Like, why was he fully dressed in the pool?
if you fall off of that pool floaty, you're in that water with everything on.
Like, unless he would have had spare, yeah, he probably would have had spare clothes, Jerry, because he's not.
I,
Because he's not going to go home and get changed, is he? He's going to get changed whilst he's there.
you just hope he'd have nothing in his pockets at that point, like a phone or something. It's just like, yeah, you're dead.
No, I think I think he would have done all that beforehand. Like, Jigeri would have checked all that. And on that same episode as well, did you see right at the end where Dr. Bunhead apparently got stuck in that caravan and blew himself up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like at the time, like I did think it was real at the time, but
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I
I
was like,
yeah. I mean, if he did get stuck in that caravan, he would have like they wouldn't have made the show no more. I think he might be next to the caravan, or next to the cameraman rather. Because like I thought they would have had like a tape recorder of him like saying it all, but then it would have been a bit strange if he said we have ignition and the thing hadn't even caught light yet. Do you get me?
yeah.
So I think he was next to the cameraman. I'm assuming. Because I mean, he did do some scary things over time. He did, Dr. Bunhead, because he done one right. I can't remember if this was part of Brainiac. It probably was, but he done one where he got like bubbles, put them on his head, and lit a match to it.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
I was like, when he did it, I was like, what are you doing? Did you sure you want to do that?
I know he's mad, isn't he?
I
Like,
know. If that goes wrong, it actually does something. I'm like, you're going to regret your life choices and be like, oh, I shouldn't do it.
yeah.
To like, put them out or whatnot, but you're also like, you'd think that they probably laugh and then be like, oh, yeah, shit, we probably should.
Yeah. Um, and did you know as well? There was one thing he'd done right, which didn't actually get aired. It was on a Brainiac DVD I had when I was a kid. I had the best of series one, I think. Yeah, it was the best of series one, and it came with some extras. But he inhaled a lungful of something called xenon, which is something that's heavier than air, and it does the reverse of helium and makes your voice go deep instead of high and squeaky. And he inhaled too much, and they had to call an ambulance, and you know,
Yeah.
like it was crazy. Like some of the things that they were allowed to do back then.
No,
Do you
it's
get
like,
me?
think about it, like, it's such a different time, like, to now. Like, if you tried to air that shit now, it probably would never see the light of day. You'd be like,
I know, because they like when they done the one where they were seeing if staring at a woman's breast for 30 minutes was the equivalent of a 30-minute workout. I was like, really? Like that wouldn't go down well today, would it?
if you saw, like, if you had some guy do that in the street, they'd be like, they'd probably put him in fucking prison or something and just go, no. Sex offenders list weirdo.
Yeah. Trying to think of what else there was. One as well where John Tickle swam in syrup.
Oh, I remember that one. Like it. I was honestly just like, no, I honestly don't know how he did that. The feeling must have been disgusting because it's like,
I know. And even Richard Hammond, he was like, really, John, like, you seriously want to do this?
like, do you want to rethink your life choices at that point? Through that, it's like,
Oh, I know. The weird thing is, though, like, is he done it in water first, and then he went into the sea? But like, you'd think he'd like change his wetsuit, though, wouldn't you?
I know you'd think.
Do you get me? Because of the water mixing in with the syrup. Do you get me?
It was
Not that, not that it would have made that much of a difference, because it clearly didn't. Because when he was in the syrup, he wasn't even doing the full circles. I think he did. I think he done 2 circles, and then that was it. He was like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing the third one."
just
I
like,
think,
no, he's like, done it, been there, bye.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think of what else they done. Um,
They do like ones with like where they would see what fruit could like sink or float.
yeah, that was back in series 2. That was with the Professor Mayang Lee, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just like when they were like dropping random fruits. So it's like you'd think thing. But anyway, just a weird one to see.
Yeah, and there was one they done as well where they were seeing what height above water would you have to fall before it's like hitting concrete, and I think that
Oh,
was series 5. It was either series 5 or series 6. I know that because Vic Reeves done it,
yeah.
wasn't it? Vic Reeves done the final 2 seasons of it. Um, and there was Brainiac history abuse as well. Did you ever get into that one?
Yeah, I didn't get into it as much as I think like the normal Brainiac. It's still nice to like sort of watch it and see.
Yeah, I watched it, but I did much prefer the normal
Yeah,
Brainiac science abuse
it's
and the
like they have like something and then they do like a spin-off version or whatever, like most people.
yeah. I also liked the Brainiac Test Tube Baby as well. Like I watched that every week because I mean at that point I was a bit older, so I was staying up to watch that when it was actually live
Yeah,
every
that's what.
every week. So because I was about I'm, I'm trying to figure it all out. I was about 10 then, so I think when I was like 9, I was staying up until like 9 o'clock at night. So, by the time they'd done the Brainiac Test Tube Baby, I was old enough to stay up and watch
Yeah,
it live, like,
I was old enough to sort of like not have to.
you know. Um, on the Test Tube Baby, they'd done one. It was the final episode where they were gonna fire a whole fucking watermelon at a Brainiac, but he ran off, so they had to use a mannequin instead.
I know when I saw that, I was just like,
Yeah, but I think that was part of it, though. I think he was supposed to run off. I think it was just for entertainment, because otherwise they wouldn't have put a mannequin in front of there. They would have put, I don't know, like John Tickle in front of there, or another Brainiac. Do you get me? They wouldn't have used a mannequin.
yeah,
Do you get me? Um, yeah, they've done all sorts on that Brainiac Test Tube Baby, and they've done a Christmas special as well of Test Tube Baby, and they've done a bonfire one as well.
yeah, that was quite nice when they did like that one because it's like I feel like it wasn't expected. Like Christmas specials, you generally expect it from like hosts. It was
Yeah, but the Brainiac bonfire bonanza, like that was a nice surprise.
yeah, that was a nice surprise when I watched it. It was like
Yeah,
I think I had a DVD of it. I think I've still got it somewhere.
how would you have a DVD of it though? Because I mean, they didn't bring it out, did they, or did they?
I did it on a like VHS tape, and then I transferred it to like a DVD like a few years later because like my uncle had like a way of being able to like VHS tapes to like DVDs. I can't remember where it is. I know it's at my stepdad's. So I probably
Yeah, I had a Freeview box and a DVD recorder when I was like 10, 11, and I used to record and tape everything. I did try and put VHS onto DVD because I had a video combi, and I tried to put VHS to DVD, but it didn't work. I tried to um, put a program onto a DVD which I had on VHS, but when the program ended and I stopped it, I realized that all I recorded was loose women. I was like, what a fucking waste. Because the thing is with discs is that you can't record over them, can you? Like you can with VHS.
I found where like I messed up a few times and then like went back to like bit up. Yeah, I had so many like VHS things that I have. Like, I need to really go through it because I had a box like before I of like my stuff from like, when I was a kid, like VHS tapes, like DVDs that I burned from VHS things. But I need to go through and see what ones I actually have.
Yeah. Back to the topic at hand. Otherwise, people are going to think we've gone off on a wild one. Yeah, I used to record Brainiac a lot, and to be honest, I'm sad now that I didn't look after my DVDs as much as I should have.
Yeah, like there's some that I wish I still like owned just because it's like just for the nostalgia, really.
You know, yeah, there was talk in the final episode of the Test Tube Baby that they were gonna do another series the following year to 2007, I think. Yeah, 2007. They were meant to do another series of the Test Tube Baby, but nothing ever came of it for some reason.
I know it's kind of sad when nothing came of it because it's like I look like I always enjoyed it. So then when it like ended, it was kind of like
You know, there was repeats of the
yeah,
Test Tube Baby, but there was no
it was
second
like,
series.
like watch.
You know that there was loads of talk of it, but nothing came of it, and I don't know why. I couldn't find anything online or
I tried to look like years back, so I was like, what actually did happen to it? So I was, was it maybe in production? They just pulled it last minute. Sometimes that happens, but I couldn't find anything.
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And one another experiment as well that sticks on is when they were seeing the best way to cure a hangover, because Richard Hammond he got them all up at 6:30 in the morning. He had a big bell and a megaphone, and he was like, "Good morning, Brix," like, and he was
Yeah.
ringing the bell and shouting, and and I was like, poor everyone else sleeping in that hotel.
You'd
And
be like, what are you doing?
yeah, and unless they just booked it when there was no other bookings, maybe.
They like sort of booked out like maybe like an entire floor and just did it for you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that's probably what they would have done because I don't think everyone else in the hotel would have been happy with somebody ringing a bell, going "Good morning, Brainiacs," and having a camera crew there, and
Yeah.
you know. But it was funny that like seeing them like poke their heads around. I was like really like and like when they did eventually emerge, Richard Hammond was like, "You're all pathetic. Like you can't even walk properly." Like, oh, that was funny. And the one as well where and he went firework racing. It was between Richard Hammond on his bike, a firework, and a golf ball. But the brainiac that hit the golf ball, I think he lost it because I don't think the golf ball even turned up again. you know, if he clearly couldn't keep he obviously couldn't keep the ball in a straight line, could he? Like, and at first, Richard Hammond thought he'd won the race. It was only when they played it back in slow motion that they realised that it was the rocket that won.
Yeah, I was like, when I watched it, it was like, there's no way that he's gonna like win this kind of thing with a rocket. It's like,
Oh, I know.
but you could try.
I know, but it made good TV though, didn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of one of them things where it made you laugh and made you think, going.
Yeah, and they were seen as well, which was the painfulest place on the body to pull out a hair,
Oh, that one, and I was like,
and which was the most painful place on the body to be pinched. And with those two experiments, right, they use the same Brainiac.
yeah.
I don't know why they use the same Brainiac for those two, like unless it's just down to the fact that he was just a very chilled out person, maybe, and he just didn't mind, you know. On on the DVD I say I had, I've probably still got it somewhere. It probably doesn't work, but with the extras, they done. Did you see the episode where the Brainiac, he was riding a bike and Richard Hammond was sat on the back, and they were seeing if the egg would still land on the Brainiac's head whilst the bike was moving, or if it would hit Richard Hammond in the face.
Oh, yeah, I seen that one.
Yeah, well, on the DVD extra, right, he was talking, and the Brainiac farted, so they had to like stop, and they had to do like a voiceover thing for it. That was quite funny, because he was trying to talk to explain like how the thing had worked, and then the Brainiac went. I was like, really, like, but it was only on the DVD extra thing though. It wasn't actually aired. It was on the
DVD extra. I think I had it for like a birthday present thing because like I just kept watching it on TV. So my mum was just like, "Fine, you can have it."
yeah. I'm pretty gutted though that I couldn't find any of the Brainiac DVDs, because I found out at some point that they did do other Brainiac DVDs. They done series 1 and 2, the complete series 1 and 2 as like a DVD set, and they done 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Like you can get them on eBay. Um, yeah. And they were seeing as well how many helium balloons it would take to lift a person. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I need a lot of things for that. I was like, I'd be surprised if it worked after one. I'd be like, that's fine.
But they used like massive balloons though, didn't they? Remember?
Like when I looked at them, I was like, oh, you can never get balloons like that size, like anywhere.
Yeah. The one thing I could never work out in my head as a kid is where they would get the sticks of dynamite and stuff from.
That's what I was like. I was like, because they'd always be like, don't try this shit at home. And like,
Uh,
yeah, you know, don't just have a random stick of dynamite laying around.
I know. I know. Like some of it would make sense. Like they done ones like where they put things like they put like a firework in a microwave, and like things like that. It would make sense to say not to try this at home. But I mean, to say like to stuff a a a big thing of dynamite with 2 sticks of TNT and blow it up and say, "Don't try this at home." I found that a bit strange.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What else is that? I'm trying to think more of what they've done in season 5 and 6. Because obviously they had Vic Reeves, didn't they?
Yeah.
Dr. Bunhead was still being a nutter.
I
You
know they
know?
did Steel Ball.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, that was it, wasn't it? That was the Mayang Lee's thing, wasn't it? She was seeing if things would break or shunt, and in series 6 as well, she was flushing things down a toilet in a bikini, wasn't it?
yeah.
And there'd be people like looking at her, and like there was one where there was a bloke looking at her. I think he was sat with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend put like a bucket over his head so that so that he couldn't look at her. Oh, wild times. Yeah, and they were seeing as well if you could like really smell fear, and if you could shatter a wine glass with music, and
Yeah.
wasn't it? There was all sorts of stuff going on with that show. You know, like it isn't like going back to them giving you warnings and that. Like, there's no point in them saying do not try this at home when you're not going to get your hands on a stick of dynamite.
I know. It's like it's not like I've got it laying around in my house. I'm just like, oh yeah, here's a stick of dynamite.
I know.
I feel like at that point, like I don't think anyone had access to that unless you're in that requires those materials. You ain't having that.
I know, because it's like they put like a jug of liquid nitrogen in a microwave, and they were like, "Do not try this at home." But I'm like, where would somebody get liquid nitrogen from?
I know. I was just like, yeah, let me just go down to my local corner shop and just go ask for some. Just go ask for it. It's like they'd look at you like, no. People like, one, you're underage, two, I ain't selling it you. And three, where are you getting that from?
You know, I really don't get like why they did that. I mean, so some of it, as I say, some of it made sense, like putting like a watermelon in, or a firework, or
Yeah.
you know.
But some of it you can see why it would make sense, and then other things you're kind of just like,
Yeah. um, there was one as well. They were saying if you could cook a barbecue.
oh yeah.
It was all underwater, wasn't it? Remember? They were saying
Yeah.
if you cook a
Like,
barbecue underwater. Like, why would you do that?
I was like, I don't think that thing's gonna work now. It's
You know, they were making the Brainiac eat it, and Vic and John were like sat next to him, like making him eat it. I was like, really?
yeah.
Oh my god. Oh. What else was there?
Dummies, and they would be like, don't try this at home. I'm like, yeah, let me just go get my test dummy and try this.
Yeah. And there was one as well where John Tickle drank his own pee.
I know. I looked
He
at that.
purified his own pee and then drank it. I was like, really? It was only because somebody wrote in and said, is it possible to purify your own pee to the point where it's drinkable? And he was like, yes, you can purify your own pee to make it drinkable, but it tastes like shit. Oh, that was funny. Oh, bloody hell. Well, what else was there? I'm trying to think of what else there was. Um, if being scared would make you stronger.
Yeah, when I looked at that, I was like, how's that gonna, like, being scared, how's that going to make you strong?
Well, it doesn't, does it?
Like, where was their logic in that? It's like,
Well, there was no logic, was there? um, um, the the best way to stop bad breath. That was another one they done.
oh yeah. When they use like an onion or something weird, I was like, well, obviously an onion's going to give you bad breath, innit? Onion.
Yeah, they used a couple of bulbs of garlic, I think, and
Yeah.
garlic, and you know, um, I'm trying to think of like trying to think of everything is so hard.
I know, they did so many that it's like trying to
Ah,
figure out.
oh, I know. It was
Did you?
good though.
It was like about dog food. Like, should you eat dog food? And it's like, obviously not. It's for a dog.
Yeah. The brain. Yeah. We had to eat dog food for a whole week, wasn't it? And John Tickle, he was eating junk food.
Yeah, it's just like I don't want to eat. I wouldn't even want us, let alone.
Oh, I know.
Did you see the one where they used like a wheelchair and then like try to use like CO, like make a CO2 powered like vehicle with a fucking
Yeah, that was it. Did you see the one where Richard Hammond done it with a recumbent trike?
yeah. It's not going to go anywhere. And I was like, is he not just going to like go flying?
Oh, I know. And in that same episode, right, they were seeing if you could fail a drink drive breath test without actually having a drink. Um, but that was fun. Um, and the one Brainiac, she had to eat like a load of trifles, but she was eating all the cream and the custard and all the cherry stuff was like at the bottom, you know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she wasn't sick.
I know I would have been if I had eaten that much. I would have been.
I know. I think the one Brainiac, the one that was eating the liqueur chocolates, I think he nearly threw up. He was heaving as he was trying to eat them. As the person doing the voiceover was saying, they got to get in and they got to keep it down. You could see that the one Brainiac, he wanted to throw up.
Yeah, he's like, no.
You know. Um, what else was there? I'm trying to think of what else there was. Um, they were seeing which was the most absorbent food, but they only had bread, Yorkshires, and what was the other sponge cake.
Yeah.
There's more foods that can absorb liquids, not just those three,
Yeah.
not just those three items, you know. Although it was a bit weird though using sponge cake, especially on the soup and on the gravy. That poor Brainiac having to eat the sponge.
Like, when you were doing it, I was like, those don't go together. It must taste rank. You've got to look like you're enjoying it. It's like, yeah, it's like,
I know, like I'm surprised you found it easy to stomach. You know, but I think yeah, bread was the winner, I think. But then bread works with anything. You know, you can have bread with soup, you can have bread with gravy, custard, anything.
I feel like some things it's like it works, and other things you're like, yeah, that's work for soup.
Yeah. They done one as well where they were seeing what's the best drink to cool your mouth after you've had a spicy kebab. There was milk, lager, and water. But like, why would you want to have another 8 pints of lager just to cool your mouth down? Because a lot of
Like,
people like they get drunk, dumbly, like they have a bit to drink, have a kebab with spicy sauce or whatever, and it's like, why would you want to have more beer to cool your mouth down?
I know, I'm like, you're not trying to like solve your problem, or just make it worse.
I know.
I know they did one where it was like, what was the fastest way to get down a slide?
Oh yeah, that was another good one.
It's just
And they
different things. I'm like, out like, how are you getting down this slide?
and they they did one as well about spaghetti, wasn't it? What was the best way to eat spaghetti?
Yeah.
And they were playing with stuff called thermite as well. Remember that where they blow something different up every week?
Yeah.
Um, what else was there? There was loads of stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah.
You know, out of everything they've done on Brainiac, right? What was your favorite? Like what was the experiment that kind of sticks with you the most?
I think when they were like sort of like trying to set caravans on fire, like different substances, just to see like which one like it would blow up first. I don't know what. I just liked blowing shit up as a kid.
Yeah, I know. I was into all that stuff, and
I had like a set of Barbies as a kid, and I got bored. I just decided I'm gonna set these on fire. I took my mum's lighter off the kitchen side, went into the garden, like shared garden, just let all my Barbies down and just lit them. The one that didn't burn, and I understand why, was Ken. Like Ken took ages to burn. The motherfucker didn't want to burn. Barbie disintegrated literally, and I'm like, minute I set her on fire, she's like done for. I was like, why? What are you made of, Barbie? It's like Ken. Oh no, he didn't want to burn. He's like, look at me. My mum's like, what are you doing? I'm like, my mum's like, why have you taken my mum? Why have you set your toys on fire? I wanted to see if they burn.
We should remember like like we should like right, Chelsea. Did you get that from Brainiac?
Oh no, she was like to me, she's like, it's because you've been watching that science show in with the, like blowing shit up. And I was just like, I just wanted to see it
I'm
burn.
crying now. I'm actually crying on camera. What the fuck?
I just wanted to see if my Barbies would burn. And she's like, I'm not buying you another Barbie. I'm like, I'm fine. I just wanted to see if they burned. Barbie, I don't know what she was made of. She burned. Ken just didn't want to burn. He took ages. I just kept standing there watching him going, it didn't burn anymore.
Oh, bloody hell.
I honestly don't know what he was made of back then. He must have been made of something really fucking hard that he wouldn't burn.
Oh, God, I know. Like,
So why wouldn't you fucking burn?
I know. One of my favorites right now. This is just one of them, right? But the one I like, the one that like sticks out with me is the one we were talking about earlier, the one where Dr. Bonehead pretended to get stuck in the caravan, and
Yeah.
you know, the, that one sort of stuck with me the most.
Yeah.
Um, what else was there? There was. Did you see on Brainiac History Abuse where they made like a giant trebuchet and they attached tape stereos to it to see which one would go the furthest?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're going to remember that because I don't think Brainiac History Abuse was really as popular as the science one was it, and you know. Oh, Chelsea's gone. Chelsea, you still there? I think she's gone. We're going to have to wait a minute. Right, we'll cut back to when Chelsea's back. All right, guys. We're back. We don't know what happened, but for some reason the call ended. Have you moved into a different room? Have you or?
I started in the same room.
I thought you'd moved into like a different room or something, and that's why the signal went.
No, I think they're doing like maintenance work, like sort of on the internet lines. I think they may have cut a wire by mistake. They've done it before.
All right. And
They
what
did
was
it
we?
the other day where it was down for like 6 hours.
Oh God.
Yeah, it wasn't fun because obviously some people obviously work from home, so obviously then they couldn't do that.
Yeah. Right. So what was we talking? Like, obviously we were talking about Brainiac, but what was we talking? Yeah, I was saying about what my favorite experiment was,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah, the one where Dr. Bonehead pretended to get trapped in the caravan. But that was funny because that was the first episode of Brainiac I ever watched.
Yeah, I think that was the first one I'd ever like seen, and then I went back and watched like I think the other ones from there.
Yeah, it took me ages to watch the first ever episode of Brainiac. It took me ages to find it and watch it, and you know. What's your favorite experiment? Because I was gonna ask you this anyway, but hang on, have I already asked you that? I can't
I think
even.
mine was the caravan one with like when they set it on fire with different like substances, like to see what
Yeah,
to do.
yeah, and I also like the one as well where John Tickle was walking on the custard. That was an interesting one. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to walk on custard, mind.
No, like as a kid, I didn't mind it, but then it was like I think when I watched that same episode a few years later, like I was like, no, I don't think he could have done it. Like just the feeling of it, like going through your toes, like that must have been like
Oh, I know. And
feeling of
there
it.
was and there was one as well though, where John Tickle he got a pair of Wellington boots, filled them up with garlic, and he had to walk around in them because he was seeing if rubbing garlic into his feet made his breath smell of garlic or something. It was something
Oh
along those
yeah, I
lines.
saw that one, and I was like, how people grab garlic in your shoes? Like, no,
I know it's like how the fuck can you do that? Like that is just gross. Like why would you do that?
but would that not just make you smell more anyway? Because garlic.
I know, and at the end of it, he was like now all I gotta do is find out whether if I can get the garlic smell out of my feet.
I know. Like,
Like I know somebody wrote into him with that question because people could do. I think that's like how I kind of realized it was John Tickle's show because people were writing like Dear John, it wasn't Dear Richard Hammond or Dear Brainiac
yeah,
Joe. It was always Dear John, wasn't it? So yeah, because my mum told me that he'd done it after he'd done Big Brother or something because he was in Big Brother years ago.
yeah.
And apparently he'd done Brainiac after he'd done Big Brother or something along those lines. I can't even remember, but you know, yeah, it's a shame really you can't like it's hard to get Brainiac on DVD nowadays.
Yeah, I felt like the only like way you'd get it is probably spending like a shit ton of money from someone that had them on DVD. 'Cause, you know, people always resell things for like a lot of money that are like from completely.
Yeah,
It's like I found like a toy that I had when I was a kid. Someone wants like I think like 60 something quid for it, and I'm like, no.
yeah. What else was there? I'm trying to think. Um, um, yeah, they did so many experiments. Like it's really difficult for me to think of them all.
Yeah, it's like when they did like so many like exploding ones and like seeing what burns and what doesn't burn.
Yeah,
I
and
know
it
that
was
they did one with like one of the like it was like about like your car seat, like making sure your car seat's in your car right, otherwise you need to squish your freaking kid.
yeah, and there was one as well where they were seeing if
Like Just seeing the mannequin just decapitate itself and being like,
Oh.
you would be.
There was one as well, right, where they were seeing if jumping up in a lift at the last second would save your life, and it clearly wouldn't. Because even John Tickle was saying, like, when they filmed it, he was saying the whole theory's stupid anyway, because you'd be spread all along the ceiling of the lift instead of being mashed all over the floor of the lift.
Yeah.
You know, they got a Brainiac to go in there first, but they dropped him from like a really low height.
Yeah.
He was like, Richard Hammond was like, right, all Brainiacs jump in the air, and one of the Brainiacs, he was jumping in such a ridiculous way, and he's like, what is that? I wouldn't have you in a school sports day. That's rubbish. Sometimes you wonder with those Brainiacs, don't you?
Yeah.
Like I like I did often wonder, like, where the bloody hell did they even get these people from to do the show?
I know. I'm like, did they just go out on the streets and just like pull random people and go, hey, you look like a good one. You want to come and be on our show?
I know. Like, I would have loved to have been on Brainiac.
I know. I was like, I think I once writ like something to like ask them, but I never actually sent it. Just because I just knew it wasn't going to be that one.
Just because what?
I just didn't think that they would do it, so I just never sent it in the end. But I found it like years later when I was like, when I moved like the first time, like my childhood home, I found it and I was like, why the fuck did I have this? And I read it and I just laughed. Why did I think
Can you remember what it was exactly? Can you remember what it was you were going to write into one?
Oh, it was like having like get like 4 cars, line them up, and then like try and like sort of see if you set one on fire, would it set the opposite one on fire while also trying to jump over it?
Oh,
I was
no,
like, everyone would jump over it like while it's on fire. It's like fun.
no, I don't think. I don't think they would have done that just for safety things, you know.
No.
And there was the science of sick as well. Remember that when Richard Hammond was making them all sick?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, lovely. Because the thing with me is, like, I've got a fear of sick, you know.
Yeah, that's what I like. I've always had a fear like since I was a kid. I remember
I think, sorry, go on.
I remember I was about like 3 and I was just sick like randomly one day in like nursery. And like I proper like started like hyperventilating. Like I started freaking out. My teacher's like doesn't know what to do because she was new. She never dealt with like kids before. This was her first like teaching job. And she goes to my head teacher and she's like, yeah, like Chelsea's hyperventilating. Like, what do I do? And he's like, he just comes and he's like to me, he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I have fear of sick. And like he was just like, you're fine, kind of thing. And I'm just like, it's not though. And ever since then, every time I like know I'm going to be sick, I freak the fuck out. I'm like, no.
And there was Peter Logan as well with his exploding paste that he made.
Yeah.
He made it using iodine crystals apparently, but there was another chemical he used, but apparently it's a secret apparently. But I mean, it can't be that much of a secret if he got the recipe from an old textbook. Do you get me?
Yeah.
If he made it whilst he was in school and he got it from an old textbook, do you get me? But they were saying that way back in them days, the only use he found for it was practical jokes because he was only a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was on the first series. Like, what thing I find interesting about this video is we keep jumping from series to series. Like sometimes like we're talking about series 2 and then we're going back to series 1 and series 4, series 5. Do you get me? But I suppose that's part of it, I guess, isn't it? Do you get me? Because it's hard to think of all of the experiments. And like when you can think of something that happened in series 1 which is worth mentioning, it's like yeah.
Did you see when they did, like, an explosion of the day?
Explosion. It was an explosive of the week.
Yeah, where they would do like random, like freaking, explosions. And I was like, okay, fun.
Yeah, yeah, and then the winner then of the final would get to blow something up with the Brainiac Babes, I think they were called, weren't they? They called them the Brainiac Babes. But yeah, the winner would get to blow up a big caravan in the final episode of the series. It was series 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if Brainiac was ever aired in other countries, because I know obviously it was on Sky One, but in the UK. But would it have been aired over in America? Do you think?
I don't know. I feel like some things, like, they probably could have. Other things they probably would have had to be a bit like careful about.
Because it's like we get American programs every year, don't we? Like we get Futurama and Family Guy and Simpsons and all that. But it made me wonder if Americans would get our programs like Brainiac and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I know that there's it's like with certain like TV shows, they have like their own version, but obviously it's like Taskmaster, like even though we have it here, there is a I think it's New Zealand or like Ireland, they have their own version.
Yeah. And there was one experiment they'd done as well where they would throw in TVs at the back of the Brainiac van at 50 miles an hour. Remember that?
Yeah.
Where Richard, like they gave each TV a different protective pack. So there was foam, polystyrene, and bubble wrap, but the fourth had nothing to protect it at all, wasn't it? And but then why would somebody want to throw their TV at out the back of a van at 50 miles an hour? Like even if you were moving house, do you get me? Like I don't think a professional mover is gonna drive his van so fast that your small TV is gonna come flying out of it. You know? God, good times. Bloody hell, it's half. Like, how long is this video?
I know, I think it actually did air in America. I just read that apparently it first aired there in on a channel called G4. Don't know if that's still a thing, but apparently that aired in 2005.
Oh, yes, it did, yeah.
On some midnight spank program. What?
What the fuck is that?
It's like a part of a midnight spank program block, and is also known on Viva in Germany, and it also aired in fucking Belgium or somewhere else. I'm just like, this too. Like, what? It's like, okay.
I'm
So
not
people
gonna.
midnight to watch it, because if you're a kid in 2005 in America, you stayed up that long.
Charles, I'm not gonna lie, but like, I know obviously I'm gonna do more videos with you than just doing like this, but I think this video is gonna be the one that always kind of sticks out with me, like just because I've had a good laugh with it. Yeah, because we had G4 over here back in the day. Do you remember? It was on Channel 4 in the mornings.
Yeah.
So G4 then was American then, was it? And then they brought it over here.
It said it goes in the US. It first aired on G4 on 29th of August 2005. Apparently, aired then.
Oh, right. Because like I thought, see that G4 was just a program that they put on in the UK on the weekend mornings, but back then I didn't realize it was something from America.
That's what I thought, because I used to obviously, because it was always on then. I was like, oh, is it just like a TV channel that we have? Because obviously, you get all different ones.
Yeah. Like it's crazy, innit? Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like proper mad. You know. You know, because like I mentioned, oh shit, my thing. Oh, right, sorry, I didn't realize then that my camera. I was I was doing something. Sorry, I didn't realize my camera went. Um, it's crazy because like when I talk to Carolina about certain programs, and like I used to mention programs to Abby, like they would be like, "What?" You know, like even things like Futurama, they'd be like, "What?" So you know, it's interesting to know that Brainiac also aired in other countries as well.
Yeah, it's like some shows, it's like, they're only normally like for certain like countries, but some are like everywhere.
Yeah,
It's like, I know I watched one as a kid that wasn't like, it wasn't British, but it was shown on British TV. I think it was like Australian or something. It was like Rubber Dubbers, loads of random fucking.
yeah, I remember that.
I don't even know.
Um,
Oh, I think it was like Australian or it was somewhere else. I found out like years later because I always thought it was a British TV show, and then people were like, no, it's somewhere else.
yeah. Um, anyway, but back to Brainiac. Yes, we're going off topic again. Yeah, what else was there? I think we've covered now pretty much most of it, haven't we?
Yeah, it's pretty much like they did like a lot of exploding ones, and they just the randomest ones of like how you can cure a hangover. Like, don't drink.
Yeah, just don't drink in the first place.
Then you won't have one. There you go, job done.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, mad. Like, it's proper crazy. Right, is that it now for this video? Is there anything else that we've forgotten?
No, I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah. Sorry that this video has been so long, guys. We're like over. I think it's going to be like an hour, because the first video was 49 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Hang on, I'm looking a minute. If I can even find the folder, there it is. Yeah, the first video was 49 minutes and 45 seconds, and this video is 18 minutes and 25 seconds. So, like, by the time we put them both together, the video is going to be like an hour and 10 minutes. But I mean, it's worth it. Do you get me? It's Brainiac. I mean, it ran for 6 years. They done they done loads of good things, and and another thing that they done as well was Brainiac Darts. Can you remember that?
Oh yeah. Choice of darts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely it now.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, by the time we put this video together, it'll be like an hour and 10 minutes. In fact, I think it might end up. Oh no, what was your longest video? It was an hour and 20 minutes, wasn't it? Your longest video on your channel.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say this might be your longest video, but I don't think it is it?
I know I did that video over like a couple of days, so it's like.
Yeah, because you done one for 7 days, wasn't it? You done a.
Yeah, that was like hell. Like it was fine, but like editing it was like hell because it was trying to remember what clips were from each day. Even though I had them in folders, it was like trying to remember. Like,
Yeah, well, the way I've done it right with this Brainiac review video is I've called the video like mine and Chelsea's Brainiac review, and I've put a number 1 next to it, and I'll do the same thing. I'll call it the same thing, but I'll put a number 2 next to it instead of number 1. You know, just to make things a bit easier. But yeah, I think that's it, guys, for this video, and we'll see you in the next video, whatever the next. Well, we say that it depends on what the next video is to go up on our channels. But yeah, we'll see you. Well, whenever we see you, basically. Bye, guys. Right, guys, we're back again. We thought it was the end, but it's not, because we've just suddenly thought of other experiments they've done. They've done one where they were seeing which in the house would make the best body armor if somebody was to break in with a catapult and a what was it? A catapult, and a crossbow and a longbow, wasn't it? And they've done it again in series 4, but it was what if Civil War was to break out whilst you're at the office, and they had a corkboard, bits of paper and all computer gear, so like the monitor and it's like with the corkboard one, like when Richard was firing the catapult, it went straight through the cork, and obviously it was gonna go. Obviously, the arrow for the longbow and the crossbow were gonna go straight through as well. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Because each one was worse. Wasn't it? Right. And what else is there? Like, I'm trying to think of other things they've done, just that we're not constantly filming clip after clip after clip. Otherwise, you're going to get confused when you go and download the clips later. They were seeing which was the most absorbent fiber. That was a funny one because of the way they dressed the chap. They made him look like an idiot, basically.
You know, he looked so stupid, but it was also.
I know, like
Yeah.
I know it was like because of the hat he had, and and they were seeing which was the best way to avoid getting wet in the rain, to walk or run, and God, they've done some crazy. Right, is that definitely it now? Can you think of anything else?
No, I can't think of anything.
Right, so that's definitely it now, is it?
Yeah.
Right. Bye, guys.
Bye.